least you're by a famous person. You should be honored.
At 13,500 subscribers. Oh! So, very quick product review, and I'll put a link in the description. As always, one of these cheap Chinese companies sent me another product. This is a locking pin for your trailer hitch. And it has rubber grommets on it, on both sides, that dampen it so it doesn't jiggle around in there, because I did find that this seems to be kind of small. Although it works. So put your rubber grommet on here and put this in and push it in, twist it, and lock it. Hold on a second. So I needed 2 hands to do that, but there you go. It is locked now. Notice how it doesn't rattle. And then it has a rubber cap to keep water from getting into your lock. There we go. Now I will tell you, Ashley had a way cooler car in her sights, but it was an approval bid. No saying we would have even got it, she would have even got it. And this one just, we were like, if it goes cheap enough, we'll get it. So this is a car that's not going to be in our possession very long. It's going to be fixed and out before you know it. So keep that in mind. It's nothing spectacular, but it is what it is. Alright, so I talked to him again. They talked to higher ups and everything, this guy. They said that that is a rule about buying 4 cars. And they don't, you know, you should not purchase more than 4 cars. So that's, it is what it is. As for recording, they still don't really want me recording. Now, I said about now it'd be a lot of editing, it'd be a lot of extra work, and I don't even know if it's worth the time, but I could still do sort of a walk around, but I would have to blur the numbers, or, you know, just keep the camera low so that the numbers aren't visible. So if I do walk arounds, it'll probably only be several cars, and it'll be very edited. So, but it is still a possibility for the future. But they're very good here. I'm not going to say where. But anyways, I'll show you guys what Ashley got, and I'm here for before I go to work. I got to haul this to work with me. So first glance looking over this, I was like, man, we scored. Brand new tires on the thing. It doesn't seem to have any issues, no check engine lights, nothing. Then I checked the AC. AC's not working. That's one. Hatch I can't get open, and I did not see this damage right here, which is still not a big deal because I'm not fixing this hatch. I probably will try to pull this dent out some, but we'll have to replace the tail light. But we're gonna fix the bumper, and that's pretty much it. It runs good. There's no issues there. I did not see this in the pictures, but there's a spot of rust right here, which I may have to do something with that, hatchet-wise, I don't know. It's really not that bad. The whole lip's still there, it's just the face of it, so I don't know if I want to just do a little, you know, a little spot work there or something to get rid of that rust. Sorry for the wind noise. The motor sounds good. Now there's some sort of wizardry of wires going to the coil here. I see that there's a cut wire, there's a splice wire. It's weird. I don't really know what's going on here, but I don't like it. So we're gonna have to look into that. But I mean, all in all, though, it seems to run really good. Well, it has two concerning factors going on. The coolant bottle, it has coolant in it, but it's lower, and there is a bottle of coolant in the back of it, and there's also bottles of oil. That is telling me that it probably needs intake gaskets. I guess we will see. But that's on these engines, that is a common thing, and this might not be such a quick flip as I wanted it to be. So the rear diff is also leaking a little bit, but it's all fixable stuff. The door panel needs fixed. It needs some loving, but I'm advertising this as a winter beater, and that's exactly what this is. It does have brand new tires. So now, after letting it run for a little bit, I can smell a hint of antifreeze. So it could possibly be a leak, or it could be the intake gasket, but I won't know till I drop the oil. When you drop the oil, if there's water in your oil, then it most likely is an intake gasket. But as for the rest of the vehicle, though, I mean, interior is a little rough, but I'll just say I didn't pay over $1,000 for it out the door. So bumper, we need this bumper. That's it. This and that, I'm going to try to pop that out. I think that dent will come mostly out. This one, I might do a little work with it, but I'm not going to get too carried away, as you know, the paint's still on there, and yeah, it's been up. It's an older vehicle. It is what it is. It'd be a really good four-wheel drive for somebody. The interior needs a very, very good cleaning. There's a nice knife in here, brand new in the box. Check that out. I guess that ain't that nice. Nah, never mind. It's cheap. We'll keep it in the garage. Yeah! Okay, so I don't feel completely cheated yet. Went around, all the wheel bearings are good. The frame, although it has surface rust, it's actually in really good shape. It has new sway bar links on it. It has new front shocks, both sides. The axles don't look to be that old, but a little oily on the front diff on both output seals. Not getting into that. This is a just cheaper build. We might put some fluid in it, but this side of the frame rail looks really good. Now, you don't start getting rust until you get near the back, and the only thing back here I can see that was replaced is this rear shackle right here. This side is horrible looking, so I did order another shackle. I am going to replace that because that's not something you want to break on somebody, so I will replace that. The rear bumper is rusty, obviously. We're replacing that, so that's not really an issue. The rear shocks are old. Everything back here is rusty and old. Brake lines are not bad. They're not rusty. And I think the rear diff leak is right here. I think I got the cover. I'm going to have to get this front seal. I will do that. This thing, it's leaking worse than the front. And it's slinging onto the fuel tank because I can smell that's gear oil. So, and it's slung it the whole way up around in here. Rust proofing everything in the back. But look in here, and I can't tell how the brake pads look from here. Trying to, but I can't really see. It looks like there's pad left. Check the front. It's hard to tell unless you pull the wheels. But everything worked. I'm not finding a coolant leak. Everything is oily up in here, but that is not coolant. It is just oil, and That is a common thing with these. And a little piece of advice, you see all this oil and all this and all this, and sometimes it's not really as bad as it looks. Normally your leak is at your highest point, so I can already see it's up past the, I believe that's the water pump. It's up past that going. So, I mean, somewhere up there is a leak, and it's traveling down here to everything else. I'll take a look at it. It might be the intake gasket. It might be the valve cover gasket. Who knows? This side is completely dry, so it's on this side somewhere. And then I believe this is Diff oil. Hold on a second. Okay, so that's actually not Diff oil. So it's coming from up above somewhere. I thought that it was leaking there and spraying everywhere, but whatever the leak is, it's getting on all this stuff is coming from up top. So the front diff is probably fine. I'll see if I can find it. If it's something simple that I can do, I will. But before I go to get the parts for this, I am going to drop the oil, and I'm going to see if there's coolant in the oil. The bottle's low, so it leaked enough that you'd be able to see it when it comes out. So let's see what's going on. So I don't know if you saw that, but I'm rethinking my intake gasket problem. It's not steaming. There's none in the oil. This thing does only have 130,000 miles. They normally last a little bit longer than that before they need an intake gasket. So, next thing is trying to find the coolant leak, because I can smell a hint of antifreeze from the engine bay after it warms up. But I can't see it. So I'm going to have to maybe do a little bit of disassembly, take the air box and stuff off, and see if I can find a coolant leak somewhere. And also, I'm not going to do the whole vehicle, but I have a lot of fluid film left. So after I get done with the rear diff seals and stuff I'm going to do on that, I think I'm going to get fluid film the back half of the vehicle. That's where all of the significant rust is. It's not to the point where this thing is bad, but that's where all your dirt and grime goes, because everything flings off the front tires and the back tires and coats everything in the back with salt and stuff like that. So I'll probably coat the back half. The front's already coated with this oil leak that's getting everything up front, so don't have to worry about coating the front. I think this was somebody's winter beater. The oil was very dark, and somebody didn't go by date intervals on their oil changes. They went by miles, and being this only has 132,000 miles on it, being at 2,000, it wasn't driven that much. The oil filter has the 6/21 of 2014 on it, so it was recently registered and running, but the oil filter and the oil was very dark. The oil filter being old, I'm assuming that they were going by thousands of miles to change the oil and not by dates too. You know, your oil does go bad over time, so you should change it when it gets old if you're not running something that much. Maybe turn your service intervals to a lower mileage if you're not running it that much, like every 2,000 miles. But that being said, this thing needs a service, so that's a good thing. We're going to get that done too. Opened her up, brand new air filter in her, which I didn't pull it out to see if it was dirty. Not very dirty at all. A little wet in there. Now that smells like antifreeze. That's weird. That little bit right there. That smells like antifreeze. Somebody had to have just spilled it in there, because there is no way in heck, unless maybe this line blew. I have no clue. That's weird. inside here, it's dry along this side and that side. The valve cover is not leaking. I did find the leak. It's a power steering line, and it's right past power steering pump there. You can see, I don't know if you can see it, way down in there. Right in between those two tubes there, you can see it's shiny. There is a hose clamp right there, and it looks to be loose, and the power steering fluid was low. So I topped her off. I'm going to try to tighten that clamp up. But yeah, it doesn't look bad up here at all. We're going to top her off with antifreeze and just see how she goes. That's weird that there'd be antifreeze in there, but they did just put a brand new air filter in, and who knows what else. I mean, there are new components in here. The battery's new. Well, I don't know what they did with the ignition coil there. That's kind of concerning, but I'm going to look at them up at Johnny's and see what it looks like. I do want to look at this. There's three... Why? There's three connectors here. One wire is chopped. Why is that? I don't understand that. I don't know what that middle wire's for, but they chopped it off. That's... And I don't know what it would even go to, because everything here is connected. It's weird. Yeah, very. Next thing I want to do real quick before I go get my parts is I want to hook my vacuum gauges up to the AC because it's not blowing cold, and I want to see if it has a charge. If it's low or doesn't have a charge, then we'll pull a vacuum on it, or we'll just add Freon. But we need to see what's going on here. I don't really recommend adding stop leak into your system because it'll clog things up. But they make it with a dye in it, and that's really good for finding leaks, but don't know if I want to do that with this. So Special Ed here was about to start it up, and then I realized, no oil in it, son. But I can tell you right now, there is absolutely no pressure. I mean, yes, there's no pressure in the system at all. Like, it's not pre-charged at all. So normally you can look around and find out how much Freon it takes. I'll figure it out. It has to be wrote down here or online or something. We'll get her. Alright, so we got everything hooked up. We're going to pull vacuum on the system to see if it'll hold vacuum. If it does, then we're safe to charge. If not, it's probably not worth fixing, since this is a beater with a heater. Okay, so this has been running for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's not showing that this drew enough vacuum on the high side, but this gauge was above 0 to start with, and it had no pressure in it. So I think the gauge is just off that much, and that's about how high above 0 it was. So I'm going to close this off. Shut this off, and we're gonna wait and see if it holds that. If it does, I'm just guessing that this gauge is off somehow. I don't know what happened to it, but I don't think I dropped it or anything. But whatever. This side is reading 30. That side is staying about where it was. So we're going to guesstimate on this one a little bit. Take note to where they are now, because me and the wife have to run to Altoona to get her new treadmill and set up a business account with Verizon so we get the premium data and everything. And then it's going to be hours later till I come back, and we will check this and see if they dropped it all. While that was vacuuming, as you can see, I cut out the bad metal. There's still lots of good metal in here. I have some steel to put in here. Right here's where it was compromised from crud and stuff getting in here. It's still solid all around this. So I'm going to tack a plate in here. I need to get this. This is going to be hard to do, but I got to get this lip cleaned up so I can weld to it. I'm going to get a plate tacked on here, seal it from the back side. I have that zinc primer that is weldable. So after I get this all cleaned up, plate tacked on here, sealed on this side, sealed on the back side, then I'll have to cut a plate to fit this, and then we'll do a little bit of with some body putty. And as you can see, there's plenty of good metal there to weld to, and we're just going to make this look decent, okay? So it's not a nuisance. This isn't going to rust out anytime soon, and it should be good for a long time for winters. But real quick, clean this area up. As you can see, there's a significant dent there. Now, this isn't going to look like new. There's still going to be a dent there because there's like 2 creases, something that hit this head. I don't even know what it would have been, a bumper or something, and it was tall, but it's not going to get these creases out, but it may pull this dent out to where it actually has a curved shape again. That side, can't do anything with that. I might be able to bend the lip out a little bit, but I think it'd look worse than what it is now. So I got my suction cup thing here. We're going to try to pour. So as you can see, that was fairly successful. A lot better than what it was. This, I think, once I can get the hatch open, right now I can't get it open because of this bumper being bent right here. It's wedged against it. Did not dent it, I don't think. It dented it a little bit. But, yeah, there. You can see it. That is pushed up, and that is keeping that from opening. So, I don't know about this. I might have to see if I can get a new cover. I don't know that I'll be able to get one of these. This might just be something that I heat and reshape. Maybe do a little bit of bed liner stuff on. This, I'm going to try to tap this lip in with a dead blow hammer or something just to get it back out. I'll heat it up so the paint doesn't crack anymore, but just so it's not hitting the body, which you can see there's already still a little bit of a dent right here. But you know what I mean? Like, this thing's going to be a beater. So I keep repeating that, but that's what it is. Also, it's about a half an hour later. So far, so good. Looks like the gauges are holding strong where they were. So we'll see. I don't know who I'm sitting beside today. Lady Gaga. What do you...
Well, you should buy a famous person. You should be honored.
I have 13,500 subscribers. Oh! I underestimated the size of this treadmill. So this is the way I'm driving home. And this is the tightness that we have to go for an hour. I can't even get the camera far enough away to show you how tight that I am in here. Because I got long legs. Like a daddy long legger. She has room. She's fine. Look at her. Oh yeah, no problem there. But could have put it on the roof, I guess. She wouldn't have let that happen. This is her new baby. This is her new treadmill. And she's putting the Jimmy on hold so I can put this treadmill together. It's just we need some money coming in. There's too much going out right now. Look at all that. Do you think that was free? Do you think all this was free? How much did all this cost?
I exchanged it for training.
What kind
of training are we doing?
And here we go, another cheap Chinese product. This is an Akaso dash camera. It's only a forward-facing camera. It's a 1080p. It's wide angle. Records sound, video, loop, whatever. But there you go, and it works. And yeah, so if you want one, I'll put a link in the description. I lied. This is an Audew dash camera. Let's see. Can you see it? You see that? It's a forward-facing one. Yeah. It works. Honestly, I like the Acosta ones better that I've been getting, but it does the job. Okay, so half the day went by, and we had to go to Altoona, set up a business account with Verizon. I had to go to several different parts stores to get parts. What else? Oh, and we come back, and this did not hold vacuum, as you can see. So, what I'm going to do, hold on a second here. I do not have a UV light, but I could probably borrow one. I'm going to put some of this UV dye in the system, along with some stop leak. I don't expect this to work. I don't recommend using this, but like I said, cheap build. We're going to try it. And then there's also stop leak in this, so there's going to be a little bit extra. Plus I have another can or whatever. I expect this to leak out. And if it's just an O-ring or something that I can replace, we'll do that, charge the system, good to go. If it's, you know, something else extensive, like it's leaking out of the compressor or something like that, or I don't find a leak, I'm not worried about it, really. The thing runs good, so let me get this thing up, get some oil in it, and the new filter and everything. We only went with top of the line oil here for this. Super Tech. I got gear oil and stuff like that for the back. Also got the Diff cover. Oh, here it is. I don't know if this is the right seal. We'll find out. It's supposed to be the rear pinion seal. We'll figure that out. Rear diff cover. That's the shackle. Didn't open that up yet, but we need to get some Earl back in this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so the oil filter's on. I took this dye and I dumped it in here, filled this line with the dye. Now I'm going to put a can of Freon in there, and I got to start the vehicle up, and we are going to let it run through the system and charge, and hopefully if there's a leak we'll be able to see it or hear it, but we'll let's see what goes on here. I guess we'll just keep the camera rolling. I don't know if you noticed that rust coming off of the clutch when the AC compressor. Every time it kicks, rust flies off of it. Well, I'll tell you 3 places that are a mess right now if you ran a black light. One is all around this area right here. For me pulling that off, it's splattered. There's just dye everywhere here. My hands and the floor is another one. And my bedroom. Am I right, boys? But what I do want to say, I don't know if you noticed it yet, do you hear the compressor kicking on and off anymore? No. We're on the second can of Freon. I did put a can of stop leak in it, plus that one can that had additives in it, but the stop leak stuff actually has like a pink color to it, whatever. But we're adding the second can right now, and the compressor has now kicked on completely. The AC is cold, and I'm just going to hope for the best. Listen, when it comes to AC stuff like that, the dye's in there, so if there is a leak, it'll be easily detectable now with a black light, maybe. unless it's over in this area, but or on my hands. But yeah, I mean the AC's working for now, and we'll just monitor it and see how things go. We're almost through this last can now. I wanted you to see this. You can see the condensation on everything. That's because it is cooling right now, and you can see some of the dye that I spilled. You can see it everywhere here. But yeah, look at that thing sweating. That's because it's cold inside right now. That motor sounds good. Besides coolant cycling, I don't hear any hissing as of any R134 leaking out. So, I don't know. We're just going to see what happens. And to tell you the truth, I'm going to stop the video right here. I know, let's keep going. I got lots of things to do on this. You'll see that in the next episode. Next episode, we are going to do the rear diff cover gasket plus the pinion seal, if that's the right one. I don't know if it's the right one. It's two different sizes. This appears to have the 7.5 pinion gear, 7.5 inch. So I went with the seal for that, which is the most expensive one. But Advanced doesn't carry it. AutoZone had it in stock, so I got one from AutoZone. Yes, the AC feels good. And we're going to continue on this. Next episode, we're going to go to Johnny's, get the parts for the back. And we're going to go ahead and tear them off of here. So, if you guys are excited to see this thing in and out, because hopefully next episode's the last episode on it. But, so, we get this done and then get back over to the Subi. So, if you like this episode, go check out some of my other episodes. Please go support these other channels that lost their channels to Russian hackers. I know, it sounds silly, but it really happened. Built is one of them. Built Official. Black Widow Super's one. Troy Sowers is one. I don't even know. There's a bunch of other ones. If you look into it, you'll find these channels. They have started over from scratch. They only have several thousand subscribers so far from over 100,000. So it sucks. I know where they're at because I'm there. So anyways, smash that like button, consider subscribing, and we'll see you on the next episode of
Unwrapped.